Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
And that's my co-host, Neil.
I'm Neil, and who has decided to return yet again in the unprecedented move of attendance?
Unfortunately, I'm here.
Unfortunately.
Oh, well, fuck you too, Dave.
Yeah, I actually remembered the title of the podcast this week, where I did not remember the entire title last week, so we're off to a good start compared to last week.
Good start to the podcast, but shitty start to the movie.
Yes, today, Monster March finally comes to a merciful end with Deep Blue Sea. And we'll get into that in a few minutes, but let's do what we always do. Neil, what did you watch this week?
Well, this week was a little bit tiring and a little bit cumbersome, and I needed something to motivate me through, so I watched John Wick movies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nothing gets you pumped up. I don't even own a dog. Nothing gets you pumped up like, yeah, that motherfucker killed your dog. Take him out. Kill every single one with a Russian accent.
I have not seen 4 yet. I heard it's a step up from 3, but I still haven't seen it yet.
Some of the knife fighting is really fun, but he's got like the bulletproof like jackets, and he'd like literally the guy's firing at point blank range, and he's just holding his coat like this.
Yeah, I hear they lean into that way too much in the fourth one.
They lean into it a lot. Mm-hmm. He just gets his ass kicked in that movie so many times. You're like, oh please, Jesus, somebody give John Wick a break. Mm-hmm. I watched that, and then my wife started. There was a British comedy called Ghosts that my wife really liked, and I guess CBS picked it up. A lot like The Office, they did a British version, then they did an American version. And so we've seen the British version, and she wanted to watch the American version. So we'll watch a couple episodes of that when we get home, just to kind of not have to think too much, and then cook dinner. And then at that point, it's been so busy, we're just tired, and we retire and sleep. And then
Jamie likes that. She watches Ghosts. I don't think she's seen the British version. She watches the American version, and she enjoys it. It's on her DVR.
The British, I like the British version better. They're better actors. Their timing is better. Where the American version, it just seems like they're waiting to just sort of say their zinger. Mm-hmm. Honey, where's my pants? One of those kind of routines. It's
yeah.
Like, okay, we got it. You've got a funny line coming up. Please be better.
I have not watched it. Jamie's watching some other show called The Apple Doesn't Fall Far, or something. It's on Peacock. Family drama type show. So
I'm hearing a lot about something called Three Body Problem.
I heard that today. I heard the name of that program today, but I haven't seen it yet. Isn't it done by the showrunners of Game of Thrones at Benioff and Weiss, or whatever they're called?
No idea. I haven't even looked it up. I think my wife is tuning in to watch. She put on a movie. God, I can't even think of what it is. As I was coming in, she's watching the female cast of Ghostbusters. Mm. She wants to watch that while we're recording because she wanted something to make her laugh. Because
I did not mind that one as much as the hate. Didn't mind it got so much hate. People hated on it a lot. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was awful.
It was better than Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. But it got so much hate from the internet misogynists out there. It was all right.
Speaking of internet misogynists, Dave, what'd you watch this week?
Well, thank you, Neil. I watched this movie, obviously, and then I watched There's Something in the Barn. The one about the really bad horror film about the little elves, where you have to keep the elf happy in the barn, and then they slaughter all these people. And
I haven't seen that.
I've seen the trailer for that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I wanted to remind myself to watch it.
Yeah, the family inherits a house in Norway and goes out there, and it's pretty good. Except the dad character was really annoying. The way he acted was just really almost too stupid. But it was 3 out of 10, but entertaining. and kind of gory. So there you go. That's what I watched.
So
Eric,
that movie and this movie have a lot in common then.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched 2 bad movies this week.
But you also went somewhere to watch something, right?
Yes,
Sporting event.
I went to the NCAA tournament down and watched some really good basketball games, and that was a blast. It was a good time to get away. And in fact, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb for 3 days, and just went and enjoyed life. So it was nice to get away.
That's nice.
I watched hockey, but I went to the hockey game, but I left my phone on. So there you have it.
Yeah.
All right, that was fun. We should just get started.
Eric, what did you watch?
Yes. What did I watch?
Damn you, Dave.
I watched a shitload of basketball.
Shit.
An obscene amount of basketball. Starting when the tournament started, the play-in games on Tuesday and Wednesday. I watched the games on Thursday, the games on Friday, the games on Saturday, the games on Sunday, and the women's games on Monday. I watched a ridiculous amount of basketball because we're on spring break. So we didn't really want to go anywhere. We're just kind of being lazy this week. But on Friday night, Jamie, the wife, and I went to see a Star Wars themed burlesque show called The Empire Strips Back. And in Denver, it was pretty entertaining and pretty funny. And if you wanted to see Boba Fett take off her clothes in front of you to music, there was some good Princess Leia stuff. There was the Emperor naked swinging on a ball like Miley Cyrus on a wrecking ball shaped like the Death Star, which was pretty funny. And it wasn't like super like nudity and stuff like that. It was very, you know how burlesque is. It's more about the tease, and but it was actually really well done. I was surprised. I'd go see it again if it comes back around. If it comes to your area, I would check it out. It's pretty fun.
This ticked off so many kinks for you all at once.
Just
all done out of the way.
Princess Leia in the gold bikini, they got that one for you. You want to see female version of Luke washing the land speeder, they got that for you. If you want to see 2 Twi'leks dancing together, they got that for you. So it was pretty good. It was fun. It was definitely entertaining. We stayed the night in Denver and then came back, and then we went to Topgolf today and played Topgolf and ate some amazing Mexican food at this place called Los Dos Portillos, which was really good. So other than that, I've not watched any movies at all except for this piece of shit twice.
all I was thinking of is how I am like physically whiter than you until you try to pronounce
Los Dos Portillos.
You try to do something in Spanish. I think I feel really good about my pronunciations now.
Yes, but it was this movie sucks, and but we are recording way further in the week than we normally do. We usually record on like a Sunday night, sometimes on a Monday, but we're recording all the way on a Wednesday, so we're going to have a short turnaround. I'll edit tomorrow.
That's my bad. I'll own that.
It's all right. It's fun. It's kind of, but what this has done is made me think about the movie probably way more than I should have. I have some thoughts and some things maybe to make this movie better, and I think this is something we should maybe try. And when we watch a shitty movie, is do a segment of like, what could we have done, or what could have been done to make this movie better, and then we'll get into that a little later. But all
right, do we have to say boobs every time? Can we just leave that as an understood?
No, it's different than boobs. Boobs is that's the one. That's you don't need to. That's like a given. You don't need to add that. That is just unspoken. Immediately. It's an unspoken. Boobs makes everything better.
Okay.
Yes.
See, this is going to be interesting because when we were supposed to watch Lake Placid, I mixed it up and I watched this. Mm-hmm. And then remembered I was supposed to watch Lake Placid. So then I watched Lake Placid with that back to back. So I watched this movie like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be interesting. I want to hear your fresh take of hatred.
Fresh take of hatred. First off, well, let's talk about the internet. Excuse me. Let's talk about the Internet Movie Database tagline. If you would mind saying that.
Searching for a cure for Alzheimer's disease, a group of scientists on an isolated research facility become the prey as a trio of intelligent sharks fight back.
All right. That's pretty cut and dry synopsis of the movie. This was directed by Rennie Harlan, who has done some good stuff and has done some crap. And I think his crap movies way outnumber his good movies. He did A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, which I think is one of the high water marks of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. He did The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Die Hard 2.
Oh my God, we need to watch Ford Fairlane at some point.
In Cliffhanger, we need to watch Cliffhanger 2 because he did that. As well, he did Cutthroat Island, The Long Kiss Goodnight, Deep Blue Sea, Driven, and then Mindhunters, which looks freaking terrible. It's got LL Cool J again, and Val Kilmer and Christian Slater as hunters of serial killers. It looks terrible. I've not seen it. Have you seen it, Neil or David?
I've seen it. I just want to give props to Rennie Harlan because going into this, I saw this in the theaters. Not straight up went to go see it. And I just want to thank whoever wrote that for helping break the stereotype, because LL Cool J has been making it out of horror movies. That's a brother that can make it all the way through a horror movie. And this was one of those times. Congratulations.
Yeah. Halloween H20. He did make it out of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave the same type of performance as he did in Halloween H20, which is just a shitty performance. Going back to Rennie Harlan, he did Exorcist: The Beginning, which I have not seen, Covenant. He's just done a shitload of awful movies. And he's working on one called Deep Water, starring Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley is one of those actors who can either do a great movie or a total piece of shit movie. So word's still out on that one. So Neil, you said you saw this in the theater?
Yeah, I would see it in the theater. Okay. There are certain kinds of movies that I just find myself attracted to for some reason. Hellraiser movies, Children of the Corn movies, and I love me a good shark movie.
Mm-hmm.
This, of course, was not a good shark movie.
This is a shark movie.
But I did go see it. But this did. Oh man, if you want to think about the critical consensus, we could skip that because I've got the lyrics to Deepest Blue, LL Cool J song for this. And if
your head is like a shark's fin,
you want to talk about like a wordsmith. Kanye would see this and realize he is not a wordsmith. That Kanye just likes fish sticks.
Yeah. So this was like Shark Week when I watched this movie.
I'm just going to keep ignoring it and seeing how many times you force that joke. Because
one more time. Hold on.
A joke is like a fart. If you got to force it, it might be shit.
So this movie,
other fish in the sea, but barracudas ain't equal to a half-human predator created by a needle. Please.
Are you going over the poetry of LL Cool J?
When your Titanic sinks, I'm the one you're going to meet hearing terrified screams. They surround my team. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Killers got to eat too. This is fucking amazing.
Yeah, he needs to go back to I'm Bad. Remember I'm Bad by LL Cool J, one of his first ones? That was a good one. I Need Love. That was a good one.
She went to the beach, gave her a peach, and put on the suntan, and then you got to lotion.
Going back to Cali.
I'm already here.
So if you really want to know why this movie sucks, you need to look no further than Akiva Goldsman was the producer, but also did an uncredited rewrite that scaled down the production and turned it into more of an Alien ripoff. And in my opinion, probably all the terrible dialogue, because this man wrote Batman and Robin.
Oh, no.
Which is so disappointing, because if you meet someone and their name is Akiva, deep in your heart, you want them to be one badass, interesting person.
Yeah. He wrote Batman Forever, A Time to Kill. He wrote Lost in Space, Practical Magic, A Beautiful Mind, I, Robot, Cinderella Man, The Da Vinci Code, I Am Legend. Ugh. Yeah, he's wrote a lot. Oh, the Dark Tower movie, which was a piece of shit.
Those books have such potential.
Yeah.
HBO needs to pick that up and do that like a mini series. That would be
It needs to be
badass.
prestige television show.
Yeah. Make that as good as, remember The Stand when they did The Stand?
Oh yeah, that was good.
That was great. They could do something like that. These are $1 million ideas, HBO. Are you listening? Eric and I and Dave are here. We're ready to make this happen.
So this movie is like a charisma vacuum, especially when it comes to the two leads. Thomas Jane as Carter Blake and Saffron Burrows as Dr. Susan McAllister. She's awful. I've never seen her in any other movie that I can recall, but she is terrible in this movie.
She sucks.
She was awful. Michael Rappaport was good. He's always good. Hey, Ma, there's a moose outside. Have you seen that video? It's a fucking moose.
What's up with this fucking cat? Ma! Those are amazing.
I love those too. Stellan Skarsgård is usually really good, especially in Dune. He was pretty good as the Baron.
Did you see Dune 2 yet?
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Loved it. Amazing. Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson is usually pretty awesome. He is actually pretty good in this movie as well. And of course, he gets the coolest scene in the movie. But this movie is terrible. Before we talk how bad it is, read the surprisingly positive critical response.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised at the amount of films that Saffron Burrows has been in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I looked her up while you were talking. She has been in a ton of stuff. Even did some voices for some things, apparently. A crazy amount.
A movie called The Loss of Sexual Innocence before then.
The one fucking movie you pick out.
I am consistent, goddammit. I'm consistent.
Yes, you are. All right. Rotten Tomatoes reported an average approval rating of 60% based on 114 reviews, with an average rating of 5.7 of 10. The site's critics' consensus reads, Deep Blue Sea is no Jaws, but action fans seeking some toothy action can certainly do, and almost certainly have done, far worse for B-movie thrills. Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 54 out of 100, based on 22 critics indicating mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B on an A+ to F scale. Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. Okay, here we go. Writing for the Chicago Sun-Times, Roger Ebert gave the film 3 out of 4 stars. And
cannot believe that.
And praised it as a skillful thriller, saying that Deep Blue Sea is essentially one well-done action sequence after another. It doesn't linger on the special effects. Some of the sharks look like cartoons. But it knows how to use timing, suspense, quick movement, and especially surprise. He concluded that the film keeps spectators guessing in an otherwise predictable genre.
There was only one good surprise in the movie, and the rest was so fucking predictable. And it was awful. It was like a terrible ripoff of Alien and Jurassic Park kind of mixed together with sharks.
I will say there are 2 high points of this, and I know one, and we've just got to, no matter, I don't care how shitty the movie is, when Samuel Jackson is in it, that's amazing. But 2 is when the dude's in the shark's mouth, slapping into the glass. That's just like a big F you. Like, hey, was this your boyfriend? Was this your boyfriend? He's gonna die. Okay. In a positive review, Keith Turin of the Los Angeles Times considered Deep Blue Sea a return form for Harlan, especially after the dismal swamps of Cutthroat Island and The Long Kiss Goodnight.
I think A Long Kiss Goodnight is a better movie.
I really like that one. I got me a gun. Don't. Gonna put it in my pocket. Nobody?
I barely remember it. The only thing I remember is some of the action, but I only remember Samuel L. Jackson at the end. Well, let me be frank and earnest. It's like I'm frank in Chicago and I'm earnest in somewhere else.
God damn, look at that. Oh my God, you noticed that woman's breasts. How neat. Wow. He described the film as an example of how expert action filmmaking and up-to-the-minute visual effects can transcend a workmanlike script and bring excitement to conventional genre material. Kind of makes you wonder, what did these guys do? Is he like a heroin kind of guy, or is he like a psychedelics kind of guy? What do you think he does? Similarly, Desson Howe of the Washington Post remarked that while the film's premise feels familiar, it knows the audience and knows what it'll get them going and even wondering. He said that Deep Blue Sea might not be Harlan's finest 2 hours, but he managed to build something that, if nothing else, gives you a great big shock every few minutes. Okay, oh my God, I'm watching the movie about giant killer sharks and they eat people. I'm so shocked. In a 3.5 out of 4 review, Robert Lisowski of the Florida Times Union, oh man, the powerhouse of movie critique, of cinema
I see
critique.
his name at the bottom of posters all the time.
Oh man. Highly praised the film's pacing, intense action, and chase scenes, stating that Deep Blue Sea is a great popcorn movie. And what summer at the Cinemaplex is all about. Seeing people get et.
To me, pacing, this movie has terrible pacing. This movie seems so long. It's only an hour and like 47 minutes, and it feels like 5 days. This movie, it feels so long.
Mm-hmm. Well, there were bits of this movie that were very frustrating, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. Other reviews were less than enthusiastic, much like David and Eric. Writing for the New York Times, Stephen Holden described Deep Blue Sea as a cut-rate Titanic stripped of romance and historical resonance and fused with Jaws, shorn of mythic symbolism and without complex characters. God damn. While Barbara Shoeglasser of the Chicago Tribune criticized it for being an inferior imitation of Jurassic Park, but praised LL Cool J's performance and the film's realistic setting.
What the fuck?
Realistic setting?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Never been
What the fuck? Realistic? There's nothing realistic about this goddamn movie.
How do you know how much time she spent on an underwater research base? You don't know that. She may know more than you, Mr. Run Around in the fucking forest. Please, such negativity. Ian Nathan of the British magazine Empire gave the film 3 out of 5 stars and criticized its B-movie convention, stating that you're never entirely sure whether you're laughing at or with Deep Blue Sea. Variety review, that's so freaking cold. I love that. Variety reviewer Robert Kohler felt the computer-generated sharks were inconsistently realized, but nevertheless highlighted the flooding of the facility very positively, because some of that shit looked like it hurt. The dialogue between action sequences was also praised, especially LL Cool J's blend of Bible talk, smack, and wit.
Oh my God. I thought he was the worst.
Despite his few lines, Jane was seen as a charismatic character and a genuine new action star. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. In a 2016 retrospective, Wired editor Brian Rafferty considered Deep Blue Sea the greatest non-Jaws shark movie of all time and superior to Jean Collet-Serra's The Shallows. Not even fucking close. He remarked that within a genre that had been dominated by Jaws, Deep Blue Sea features genuinely inventive action sequences, nicely rounded out human characters, and memorable death scenes. Rafferty also noted that the film was among the last of its kind, describing it as an R-rated B-movie full of gore and chaos and smart stupidness, but with a big budget, big cast sheen. In a similar way to Paul Verhoeven's Total Recall and Starship Troopers, Roland Emmerich's Stargate, and Luc Besson's The Fifth Element, Samuel Jackson's surprising death scene in the film appears on some lists of best film deaths of all time. Deep Blue Sea has often been cited as one of the greatest shark films of all time.
I can't believe somebody would even say that.
Oh, but wait. Allow me to elucidate. In 2012, Pop Matters ranked the film third behind Jaws and Open Water and described it as one of the last great films from action ace Rennie Harlan. In 2015, Den of Geek, a publication of Dennis Publication, ranked Deep Blue Sea only behind Jaws and credited it for its action-packed scenes and intelligent sharks. In 2017, Slant Magazine rated it 7th and highlighted Jackson's death scene and LL Cool J's performance, while Complex ranked it 3rd, praising its talented actors and tight action sequences.
Did they see the same movie that we saw? I can't believe it.
Is it possible to be a movie critic and not really watch a lot of movies? So that when you see something like that, you know, you always see those things like the caveman first discovering fire, where like you got the lighter in front of him and like, oh, ooh. And these guys just saw a computer generated shark and lost their shit.
The computer generated sharks looked like they were rendered on a PlayStation 1. In my opinion, they look so bad.
Okay, in PlayStation 1 defense, they did have some sweet games on that console.
They did. I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yes, no doubt they did. But the graphics were not very good at all. They looked freaking terrible. The action scenes were awful. How many times can you see somebody run through a flooding corridor over and over and over again?
That's what I was about to say. Like, how many, when they were talking about, you just said something, and I'm like, how many times did we just see him just run and shut a door? Like that.
Okay, wait. Oh, wait.
2 hours of just climbing and shutting doors, running and shutting doors, and going. I'm
going to channel Roger Ebert right here. Who was the enemy of the film, David? Was it the shark, or was it nature itself relentlessly pursuing them through the underwater lab that you have no idea what it's like to be on, unlike that one chick?
I don't fucking care.
Wow, Neil's being devil's advocate today.
What the fuck?
Dude, I had a great dinner. I had some sugar. I got a cup of coffee. I'm fucking down to talk about this right now.
Listen, the enemy of the movie is Saffron Burrows. She didn't die soon enough. You had to get an hour and 37 minutes into the goddamn thing for her to die.
Well, and to me, the worst sin is I could give a shit about the characters. Did not care about any of them, whether they lived or died, except for Samuel L. Jackson. All of them shit. All of them sucked so bad. The writing was awful. Just compare it to Tremors. Within the first 10 minutes of Tremors, you give a shit about everybody, and everybody has a personality, and you don't even really need to know their backstories, but they all have something you like about them or care about them, or they just by showing how they are, you're like, okay, I like them. This does not show shit about what anything about them. It's awful. And I'll go back to why I thought about it way too much. And if they would have added 3 scenes to this movie, it could have been way better. And I'll give you scene number 1, right? Right after Thomas Jane saves the horny people sailing at night and show that he's the badass, shark hunter, they could show like a little flashback or a scene where Saffron Burrows is in a nursing home visiting her grandma, and her grandma can't remember who she is. She's looking at her grandma, and the grandma doesn't recognize her, and she starts to cry. She gets in her car, and then her car gets on a helicopter to the meeting with the Monkey Mucks over there, and she's like, okay, you see, she has a reason to forget. This is what drives her to be a scientist to find the cure for Alzheimer's. Then you have something that you give a shit about, right? 2, Samuel L. Jackson lands on the base, right? He goes down into like the first main corridor or offices of the, where the lab is, and he sees a bunch of pictures of old people on the wall. And he's like, why are these grandmas and grandpas on the wall? What's going on? And, Stellan Skarsgård is like, well, this is just to remind us of what we're doing for, what are we doing?
That's my body. That's my body count, sir.
Exactly. Or he takes a picture out of his wallet and shows, this is my grandfather. He was a renowned marine biologist and scientist, just like I wanted to be. He has Alzheimer's, and I know I'm going to get it too, so I'm going to try to do as much as I can before I get it, right? All right. 3, LL Cool J's character, right? He's at the party serving the cake to the lady, and everybody's like, man, this is the best cake I ever had. I can't believe you're just a cook on this, on this floating lab.
And then he looks at him, he goes, what's the recipe? I forgot. I got the Alzheimer's.
No, close.
Okay.
That he's like, well, I met Dr. whatever Saffron Burrows' character's name is. I don't even know in here. Dr. McAllister. I used to work at the nursing home as a chef because I had to give up my dream of being a chef because in return for my grandma living there, I worked there or something like that. And she told me she'd hire me, and, she told me what they're doing here. So I believe in it. Just give somebody a little bit of backstory where you give a shit about them. In any case, that would have made you give a shit when they die. You didn't want to see her as cold and cool, and then just ever so like small little sliver of her pain for you to go like, maybe she's not cold and heartless. Yeah, even I mean, just even if she's like, she has a key, she has this stupid key, and then she's trying to save her research, and then when she opens the lock, there's like a picture of her grandma or something to show that she's got some sort of motivation besides that.
So I think I know what the real problem with this movie, other than needing these 3 scenes, is that you had way too long to stew about this.
Oh yeah, way too long. That's why I started thinking of the alternate scenes and shit like that in my head.
Here's all the things I needed to do because we didn't record on time. Damn it. Okay, so can I talk about my first gripe with this? Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so all right, we bring in the big guy, and he lands, and then he goes out and he does his dangerous shit, and he tries to we'd want to make the rich dude feel bad about make him feel bad about being rich, and then we got to go like, oh, you're a loose cannon, you've done some bad things, blah blah blah. Okay, so then we go to the dumbass model of the shark, where she's rehearsing taking out the brain stuff, right? Getting the proteins out of there, which the fucking machine lines it up and holds it. All she does is stick in the thing. And they show her going in like it's precision, but her hand is shaking like Alzheimer's is the least of her worries. She needs to worry about palsies. That thing is bouncing like this. That shark's going to be sitting there with like an eye kind of fluttering, like a nictating lens going rapidly back and forth. And its fin goes at like a weird angle because she stuck that needle into its head in the wrong spot. It goes back in the water, and the other shark's like, what's going on? And it's like, I like cheese now.
Full lobotomy.
Yeah. Don't laugh at that, Dave. That was horrible. That was not nice.
It came out of nowhere. I like cheese now.
David, what would you have done to improve this movie? Besides boobs.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Boy, this is something new. You guys have never asked me about this.
You took the wind out of his sails with the no boobs thing. And then Dave's like, okay, can't do boobs. One boob?
Yeah.
Multiple boobs?
I'm kind of a simpleton. Yeah, probably just take Akiva Goldsmith away from it and then rewrite the. Yeah, I think you didn't care about. I actually cared about Michael Rappaport's character. I thought there was a little bit there, right? And no, am I the only one that?
I just think he's fun in whatever role he's in, so you kind of care about him just because, hey, that's Michael Rappaport. Yeah. He's going to bring his, whatever he brings to the movie. So
yeah,
he's kind of funny,
The special effects sucked, and I just think it could have been rewritten. And yeah, I think Eric, like your 3 scenes would at least tie the 3 main characters in together because you know that they weren't going to die until later. And I don't know. I was so frustrated with it. And I remember, can I tell you when I first watched this one?
No, go ahead.
I had to do a midnight preview of it. So I put this movie together at the theaters, reel by reel by reel. And then I had to wait for all the damn customers to leave. And then I had to start it at midnight to watch it to make sure it was put together correctly. And then it was, unfortunately. Then I didn't get home until late, like 2:30 in the morning. I'm sure I smoked some weed, went to bed, and then got up the next morning and went and opened the matinee on a Friday so this thing could kick off this goddamn movie. And I think I've always hated it.
Midnight matinees really seem to have been your kryptonite in these stories. I'm really kind of starting to see a pattern of how things worked at the old Centennial Twin for you.
Well, that was my job, was to put the movie together every Thursday night that was going to open up Friday. Then I had to watch it at midnight to make sure that it was shipped in the canisters correctly. And if it wasn't, I had to stop the goddamn movie, take it apart, move the reels around, put it back together, rewatch it. So sometimes I'll be watching movies till 5 o'clock in the morning just so a bunch of assholes could fill the theater and watch it at 11 o'clock.
One thing I'll say, though, by doing that, you probably have a skill that not many people have, is splicing film together.
Yeah, and I did get to see, I will say this, I got to see, I worked at the movie theater for 10 years, and I think for probably 7 of those 10 or 6 of those 10, I was in charge of doing that stuff a lot. So for a long time, I got to see a lot of blockbusters before anybody else. Just me and 2 other people got to watch Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, right? Like the big movie that came out. I got to watch it before anybody else. It's just me and 2 other people. Smoke some weed, go watch a movie.
What? Weed was involved? No way.
Yeah. Leftover popcorn, reheat some hot dogs and some cheese and put some jalapenos on top. Yeah, what the hell? It was a good time.
Can I digress for a second? I saw something that I wanted Jamie to get a picture of, but before I noticed it, we were driving away from it too fast. In Centennial, Colorado, there's a Bono's barbecue, Bonos barbecue. I don't know if it's Bono's barbecue, but it made me think of like, every time I clap my hands, somebody gets a plate of ribs.
Hurry up and start clapping, you bastard.
I do have another U2 joke if you want to hear it.
Let's hear it.
Neil, you probably know the punchline, so I will say it and see if you know the punchline. All right. Bono and the Edge walk into a bar. The bartender's like, not you two again.
You two again. Yeah.
Oh, God.
You know, I could tell a U2 joke with or without you.
All right.
You know, Jesus doesn't walk around thinking he's Bono.
Yeah, he does not. But I kept thinking of like food-related U2 lyrics when I was when we were driving.
Wait, why did Bono fall off the stage?
Got too close to the edge?
Too close to the edge.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Anybody was like singing with or without food, or like all these different food puns.
How many members
Poor
of
Jamie was just like, stop.
How many members of U2 does it take to screw in a light bulb?
One, because Bono holds the light bulb and the world revolves around him. Yeah,
yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, did you hear about the family that got lost because they had U2 navigation on their phone? All the streets had no name.
All right. If you're still here listening to the podcast,
do you know why the band is called U2?
Why?
Because it's Bono, the Edge, and U2. What did Bono died and went to heaven? What did he say when he met God? I believe you're in my chair.
Nothing.
Okay. Right. That is my breadth and depth of Bono YouTube jokes. I have exhausted every YouTube
way more
joke
than I thought. So not U2 again.
This is the way my head works. I'm so sorry.
All right, so let's talk about Thomas Jane, Shark Hunter. What do you think of his performance in this movie?
How many times did he fall down while he was running? How many times? Everyone else is running fine. He's supposed to be this great athlete or whatever and do all this shit. He fell down the whole movie. He was falling down.
I'm just confused by his performance. Just like, okay, Thomas, just be a dick. Be a dick to everybody and be mediocre at your job. All right, go. Terrible.
Oh, shit. I thought you were talking about me. Like, damn it, I don't want to go back to work.
Yeah, I thought the same. I was like, God damn it.
Thanks for bringing up a painful day.
And, yeah. Saffron Burrows, just awful. She purses her lips, squints her eyes. That's her level of emoting.
Were they holding up like an early version of the iPhone so she would pose like that?
Lips out.
Yeah. I find it best on a podcast to do visual humor.
Yes. Very good.
Thank you.
There's supposed to be sexual tension between her and Carter, Thomas Jane's character, but it's really not. Everybody thinks she's an unethical scientist, which she is, and he calls her out on that. So, yeah, just a little bit.
No, there's no sexual tension between her and Thomas Jane's character. It's between her, and she's a healthy girl. You know, she's got to have some batteries around.
Oh, yeah.
That was a funny ass line. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says.
So here's a sample of dialogue. Beneath this glassy surface, a world of gliding monsters. Somebody wrote that. Akiva Goldsman, probably.
Akiva Goldsman is
he's the same one that made Arnold Schwarzenegger say, freeze, or whatever.
Freeze, yeah.
Nice to see you.
He came up with all those.
The Iceman cometh.
This is the guy that wrote supposedly an amazing engineer. And this is what got me. How high is the fence? He gives it in meters, right? Like 38 meters or something like that, give or take an inch.
Sorry.
Meters, give or take an inch. Let that soak in. I know one of the 4 listeners is in Europe, and they have the communist measuring system. They have the metric system, not like us Americans here with the big capital M. I don't know why that gets me. That irritates. It's meters, give or take an inch.
Ugh.
I'm going to say it one more time because it fucking irritates me, and I want it to irritate you too. Meters, give or take an inch.
Yeah. And who decided?
I feel like you're not with me here, and I feel
I hear
alone,
it.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
I'm with you.
Thank you.
And who decided, like, hey, let's get a parrot for LL Cool J to act with or against? Terrible. It's just like, why do we just decide in each movie, in Halloween H20, in this movie, let's have LL Cool J by himself, separated from the rest of the cast, talking to himself. Whether it be him talking to his wife on the phone, talking about his erotic writings, or preach to a parrot in this movie. Terrible. Or as Charles Barkley says, terrible.
Terrible. Maybe there are a lot of people that are just afraid to deal with that on-screen charisma that LL Cool J brings with.
Too much. Yeah, I hate the move that they telegraph where Thomas Jane has the agility to do a underwater flip in front of a shark and ride the fin.
Ugh.
Terrible. I'm going to say it again.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, it also has another thing that this and Independence Day have the thing where you have people staring at something that's happening on a monitor and they have to emote to a gigantic window or portal or monitors. That's how many shots of that can you have?
I would love to be the director prepping them for that.
Well, yeah,
like,
right now.
What do you tell them to think about that they're saying? It's a shark. It's like a shark. What's
hey,
the
blonde
shark
girl,
doing?
pretend your boyfriend is getting ready to get smacked into this glass.
Hard.
She was terrible. I couldn't wait for her to get eaten as well. When he got his arm bit off by the shark, that was pretty funny. If you slow it down, he basically is falling and leaning his arm into the shark's mouth. I had to play it over like 3 times. Look, he's leaning into the shark's mouth. It's terrible. Terrible. And the sharks change size all the time. They're supposed to be huge, but they can like swim through a small door and can swim in a shallow enough water where people are standing.
And just go circles in a narrow, like, pipe, whatever, or thing that, like, God damn it.
Wow, we're getting some forehead rubs out of this. This is pretty intense.
Well, didn't you think it looked like it was made in 3D or something? Because some of the camera angles looks like they were going to try to make it in 3D or something. It looks like almost like Jaws 3, where the shark is floating slowly towards the camera.
Okay, it would have been epic though to see that bird get eaten in 3D.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because the bird is up and the shark goes up. Yeah,
I love in movies, and for some reason they always do this when there's a parrot. It has the average IQ of a 6-year-old. It'll sit there and have a full-on conversation and insult you. It knows just how to dig at you, how to get you too.
Yes, exactly.
Dad didn't love you. Dad didn't love you.
You're a failure.
You're a failure. You're a failure. Embarrassment to the family. Grandma saw you touch yourself. Got Jergens for Christmas. Oh, sorry.
Yes. So Susan, the doctor, is not a good person. The blonde lady is super, super annoying. Stellan Skarsgård's character somehow survives underwater being pushed by an intelligent shark. until he gets smashed into the gigantic portal.
All I know is Tony Soprano is going to be showing up there and wanting to know what happened to his sister.
Oh yeah, she was Tony's sister, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I knew or saw her somewhere else. I couldn't figure out where.
Those sharks went after those guys like they were gabagool.
Lagabagool. The other thing that annoyed me was the stupid lighter. Everybody's got a Zippo lighter that will never be extinguished no matter how far you throw it.
Or in a tense situation, will never light.
Yeah. It'll either never light or light immediately and never go out, even though you throw it into the water or around water or into the wind.
How much different would that be now if we were to do that? And someone pulls out a Zippo lighter and then someone would just have to like virtue signal. Oh my God, you know what a disgusting habit that is and how bad that is for you and what big tobacco has done to American health and around the world. And, you're watching it in the late 90s and it's like, hey, cool lighter. Everybody had one and a unique way to flip it open.
Oh yeah.
And you always gonna be real dramatic when you like, bam, you snap that thing closed.
Yeah.
I never smoked and I wanted a goddamn Zippo lighter.
Oh yeah, me too. Totally. Like yeah. My mom had a cool Zippo lighter and you had to like take the butane or whatever and put it in the bottom and refill it and all this kind of cool stuff. Yeah. I wanted one too. Even though I don't smoke. This movies make him look cool. But let's talk about the coolest death in the movie. The one that everybody remembers this movie for. Samuel L. Jackson getting eaten while he's monologuing.
So good.
Yeah, that was the only redeeming part about this movie. Still made me chuckle, even though I knew it was coming. Still pretty funny.
My wife made me promise to pause that so she could come in and see that bit and watch the whole monologue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only part that's like, okay, that was hilarious. That was pretty funny. Because you take nominally the hero, the most well-known actor of the entire cast, and have him get munched. Yeah. But then when he gets pulled away, that's another PlayStation 1 rendering while they're making the movie looking scene.
Yeah, it is really cool how the shark can kind of stay far enough in that it can snatch you and then pull itself back out and then go back down into the water. Best thing ever.
Just perfect. And how many times can they close a door when tons of water are filling up the compartment? Like at least 3 times. There's only one time where they're like, oh shit, we got to wait for the compartment to fill up before we close the door. And that's the elevator shaft scene. But every other time they're strong enough to close that door. And metric tons of water are pushing against them.
Metric tons or inches?
Yeah. Just, give or take an inch.
Give or take an inch.
Yeah. Yes.
Wasn't that the theme for our prom one year? Give or take an inch? No? Okay,
right, man, we're hitting the drums today.
We got them going on.
People are going to be like, ugh. The climbing the elevator shaft part was actually kind of cool. That was the second coolest scene in the movie where, the water's rising and the sharks are coming and they finally eat the blonde lady, which is we were all waiting for with anticipation.
Whoa, just calm down the way you're saying this right now. It's starting to get a little awkward for me.
Yeah, take it easy.
Another part I did enjoy is when they're swimming around in the area that's filled up so they can reverse or switch the generator to a different room and pump all the water out when Thomas Jane sees the doctor's dead body and he has to go up and just scream. I actually thought that was like, all right, I'll buy that one. It was enjoyable to me. Then, of course, Michael Rappaport gets eaten immediately after that.
Speaking of getting eaten, you ever had yourself the perfect omelet?
Oh, God. Yeah.
It's 2 eggs and it's not 3. Some people would add milk.
But they're wrong.
But to create density? This is a mistake.
This is LL Cool J monologuing into the video camera that he found. All right, so Dr. Susan electrocutes the shark.
I like omelets, by the way. I'm going to share that with everybody.
They're pretty good.
Love me an omelet.
But Dr. Susan tries to give her research and winds up electrocuting a shark. And we do get to see her in her underwear.
You know how many eggs I like in my omelet, Eric?
Probably 3 or 4.
About 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. No milk.
Mm-hmm. What do you like in your omelet?
When you put milk in it, that's a mistake. Oh, I made an omelet this morning. You know what I put in it? Delicious New Mexico green chili. Tons.
Enthralling.
You know what was not in it? Milk.
Saffron burrows? No saffron?
The egg's already yellow.
So she electrocutes a shark, and they all escape. After praying with LL Cool J, they finally get up to the surface. And this part is so dumb to me. She actually gets eaten by the shark, but for what? There's absolutely no consequences other than, I'm going to try to create a diversion, but we already know that Thomas Jane can catch one of the sharks that escapes out of the water, out of the cages anyway. So what if it does escape? You can just tell the authorities they'll hunt for the shark or whatever. She cuts her hand with a rusty piece of metal, and it looks like total like syrupy Caro syrup blood. And then she immediately gets eaten by the shark, which I kind of thought was funny. At least she got eaten by the shark because she's a terrible person. But for what?
To pay for her sins, Eric. She had to redeem herself. This was her redemption arc. Okay, this was her picking the emperor up over her head with force lightning all over her.
Yeah, but it just so terrible. And like the way the shark paused for dramatic effect before it ate her.
It's showing off.
And then, of course, we do the Thomas Jane does a trick where he's riding on the shark, and then LL Cool J shoots him with the world's longest lead on the stupid spear gun, and he gets blown up. And mercifully, this movie ends before we have to suffer through LL Cool J's.
Oh, that song.
Head is like
yes.
a shark's.
Yes.
I usually don't include errors and goofs from the Internet Movie Database, but there are quite a few. Neil, if you wouldn't mind reading a few of them.
What? I, for one, am 100% shocked that there were any continuity errors in this movie. Okay, well, we already talked about the size of the sharks and the issues with that, how they get attacked in like waist deep water. At about an hour and 28 minutes after Preacher is caught by the shark, he uses his cross to poke the shark in the eye. In later scenes, the shark's eye okay, but I think that's just because it's a super shark. It grew the eye back. That's its super healing
That's
ability.
a plausible answer.
There we go. 31 minutes. They're extracting the protein from the shark. The monitor displays real-time MRI imaging showing the insertion of the probe into the shark's brain. This is impossible since they remove the imaging device before placing the probe. At an hour and 5 minutes, Carter pries open a door with a knife that is on a sheath on his leg. The knife breaks and he throws it away because who the hell uses a knife that way? In the final scene, at around an hour and 35, when Carter and Preacher are laying on the wreckage, the knife is clearly visible back in the sheath after Carter grabbed an extra knife inexplicably lying on a table inside the underwater sea lab that David would have no clue what it looked like. When Carter is removing the license plate from the shark's mouth, he's wearing fins. As he has help from the water, he bends down and is wearing a pair of sandals. Mm-hmm. And you want to, like, the factual errors, holy shit.
Yeah, that's the one I really think are the most important ones, the factual errors.
Right. Many times we see people closing doors even though copious amounts of water and air are rushing through them. It's clearly beyond the ability of humans. The ability to do so cannot be explained by other devices attached to the door because those devices would have prevented them from opening the door in the first place. At about 26 minutes, the movie implies that swimming backwards is a maneuver that sharks figured out once they got smarter. Sharks don't swim backwards because they can't. They're built like airplanes. It's physically impossible for them to do so, unless, of course, they've been genetically modified. So that one's stupid. They've been genetically modified, guys. Duh. When Carter's talking about what attracts sharks, he says that bright colors and the red fire extinguisher they found should provide a distraction suitable enough to escape. In reality, sharks are colorblind due to them only having a single wavelength cone in their retina, where humans have 3 different types. What if they got those glasses, the ones that you always see in those internet commercials where the guy's like, I can see red now.
I've never seen that.
In chroma. They're in chroma glasses. All right. Numerous times, the sharks pound through steel doors, and Carter provides an explanation about how much force the shark can build up. The explanation is sound, except for the fact that shark skulls are mostly cartilage and would cave in upon impact, killing the shark. This has actually happened numerous times in real aquariums. I would pay money to see that.
See
It'd be so badass. Just a shark hit that thing so fast. On the kitchen level, when it's flooded, the water comes rushing down the stairway and into the open hallway. Shortly after this, Preacher wades through the flooded hallway and kitchen in waist-deep water. This should not have been possible, because if the water was rushing in from the ocean above and the level above it was flooded, then the water would have continued to flow down into the corridor until the lower level was completely submerged.
So when Susan is trying to get the shark away from the fence, she sliced her hand so it would bleed. Then she jumped in the water, which isn't necessarily, since the shark could have just held her hand over the water and let the blood drip in. That's one too, but yeah.
Can I tell you another one?
Yes, go ahead.
Let's go.
A huge mistake was that Saffron Burrows was nominated for Favorite Actress Newcomer in the Blockbuster Entertainment Award 2019. Yeah, I looked
David coming with a zinger there.
Yeah, David's taking that one personal. I actually have audio of an interview of some of the characters. I'm talking about some of their favorite bits of the movie. If you guys want to hear just a second of that.
Okay.
You want to hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? A fucking cat? Hey, don't fucking look at me like that. That's a weird looking fucking cat.
Michael Rappaport, ladies and gentlemen.
I like the moose one a little bit better. Ma, it's a fucking moose. Hey, Ma. Yeah. So this movie was awful. I can't believe I had to watch it twice. So
it's carbohydrate though. This is not a protein movie. This is carbohydrate. If this is on, if it's before Samuel Jackson getting munched, I will stop and watch up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll turn it off because I don't really care about the rest. But this does have a really, really good watchable moment in it.
I feel like if there was more sharks doing stuff and less people running around in corridors and shutting doors, like David said, it may have been better. But it's just so much of that. It just bogged the movie down like crazy.
We were griping about the sharks, and now you want more sharks? You hypocritical son of a bitch.
Well,
it's like I don't know you.
Like you said, it's like if I only have Totino's pizza, give me more Totino's pizza, not less.
That actually, I'm not going to lie. That actually sounds pretty solid right now. Totino's pizza.
Yeah, I know it's bad, but just give me a little bit more so I can regret it later.
Okay, quick question. Totino's pizza. Do you guys actually, if you're having a Totino's, would you actually cut it, or do you fold that son of a bitch in half like a taco and eat the whole thing yourself?
If I'm by myself, I fold it up. If I'm sharing it, then I'll cut it.
You don't share it. You just cook several Totino's.
Yeah.
You don't share Totino's. There's no way.
Right now I prefer Tombstone pizza. That's my favorite, frozen pizza. Red Baron every once in a while. Yeah. But yeah, Totino's is like when you're like either stoned or poor. That's Totino's.
This is why I thought Dave would have an opinion on this, but he's remaining silent here. So thanks for letting me down.
David, go back 20-something years, right? If you were stoned, what would you eat back in your stoner days? Now you're an upstanding citizen who does not partake.
Yeah, I'd eat cereal.
Cereal?
Yeah, that was my go-to meal.
Any particular kind?
Honey Bunches of Oats.
Well, that's good. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, I could eat a whole box in a sitting.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is another good one.
Yeah.
Sugar Smacks, even though they don't taste the same anymore. Honeycombs, Sugar Smacks, all that stuff doesn't taste the same. Or maybe my palate has changed, and I know my A1C will go up if I eat it. So I can't.
Have a scoop of that. Have a scoop of some plain Cheerios, just to kind of help your body balance that out.
Yeah. Well, that is Deep Blue Sea and the end of Monster March, which seemed like a super long month because it had 5 Saturdays instead of 4. So we wound up doing 5 monster themed movies instead of the normal 4. But yeah, next week we're going to do Kill Bill Volume 1. Getting back to Tarantino land. So if you guys like feet, this movie's for you.
I would say, other than that scene, I really enjoyed this movie. Keep your fucking feet away from me. Don't want them anywhere near me. Especially Uma.
If you want to send us an email, rvspodcast222@gmail.com. We're on Threads. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. So look for us there. We appreciate any sort of comments or suggestions. Yep.
If you guys are on Threads, find us. I'm really not sure how the threads work. I'm posting on there. I need to find some folks and, get something decent in the feed.
Yeah. I hear that Twitter is dying, but still there are plenty of people on it if I go back on it. But then like you said, your algorithm gets screwed up and you see weird shit you don't want to see. But yeah. All sorts of misinformation.
You will get to see the Don Lemon interview with Elon Musk, which was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Pretty funny. Well, I wonder why Elon fired him. David, do you have any final thoughts about the movie? What's your schedule looking like for the next month or so?
Well, I want to say that I enjoyed Monster March, I guess, and except this movie. But I liked all the others. They were fun and entertaining, so I really enjoyed being around for this stretch. And I imagine I've probably got, maybe a couple more, maybe one more episode, and then I'll be out on assignment. So looking forward to Kill Bill.
Cool. Sounds good. Neil?
Everybody have a good week, and let's just wait and contemplate what it's going to be like to maybe at some point get to watch the Crazy 88s.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good week.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store Podcast.